What is up, friend? Want to thank you for joining again on the next part of the journey beyond divorce. And it's interesting when you take the time, you look at your perspective, and you start looking at what takes place in your life as the ability for those things to lead to the potential of the growth that you need to have within your life. But it does come into the point where your perspective, a lot of times, as life has taken place, as you have gone through experiences, you start comparing every experience that you have with each other. And you don't take the time to look and consider that each experience is going to be different. And it's much needed to consider and see that every experience is different and look and say, what lessons are here for me to take a hold of that I can grow from, that I can learn from and progress and make a step or jump in the correct direction that I need to take going forward. And so it's interesting. I've shared this before. I have through text messages and whatnot, a couple different individuals that I follow. One's Trent Shelton, and there was a text that he had sent out a couple days ago. He said, maybe some things don't get better, but we do. And that's one of those powerful things that, yeah, the situations may not improve in the way you would like it to improve. But when you look at you as an individual, what has taken place in your life that has allowed you to improve and become a better version of yourself than who you are previous to that point, whatever it is. But it comes into the point where maybe you're looking at the situation and saying, this really sucks. And you're missing out on the opportunity to look at the journey that you're on and seeing the progression that you've made because of whatever's taking place. We get stronger. We fix what we can. We fix what we can and adapt to what we can't. Maybe some of us will never be fully okay, but takeaway, we're here. We're still trying. We're doing the best we can. That's worth celebrating too. If you're reading this, congratulations, you made it to today. You made it. Love you, Trent Shelton. And as we have the clocks going off, good times. But it is a very unique thing in regards to how a lot of times we view the negative situations that have occurred in our life as not being a good thing. That we look at the situation and try to run away from it and not do a deep dive to see what lessons, to see what is there that we need to consider and pull out of it and go forward. Because it was interesting today. I was on Clubhouse. I was in one of the rooms and it came up to the idea of negativity. And a lot of individuals, in regards to that idea of negativity, they had discussed the fact that when they're around individuals that are negative, or if they're in a situation that's negative, they try to push away and get that situation as far away as they can from them as an individual. But I look at it as the ability to say, okay, what is in this situation right now that I can learn from? What is in this situation that's coming up that maybe it is a negative situation? This depends on how you look at it. But what is here for me to learn from? What's showing up that maybe it's a mirroring situation and it's in my life right now because there's something that I have to take care of. Maybe there's something in your life that you look and you're like, okay, this is showing up, and maybe it's a recurring theme. Maybe it's a piece or an aspect that keeps showing up. And so that's where we got to slow down and look at the situation, look at everything that's taking place, and see if it's a recurring theme. Because at that point, it may be the piece that there's something inside of you, there's something that is underneath all the garbage that's trying to show up for you, for your benefit, to look at and say, what do I need to do? What is coming from this situation that I need to work on going forward? But I think it's one of those things that as humans, when we look at the pathway of our thoughts and how our brain will go to the easiest route that has developed in our life. And that may be the fact that what's easiest for us as individuals is to run away from the situation instead of taking the time to be present and stand there and look at the situation and let's dig. A lot of times we have the situation where we want to run away from it because it's not an enjoyable situation. We've been burnt before, and if you've been burnt before and it's showing up again, there is something there that you need to take stock of, that you need to take notice of, and see what that is that you need to work on, that you need to see what's in your life that you need to take a hold of and shape. And so it's one of those beautiful things when we look at it that within chaos, within negativity, there are beautiful things that transpire and grow out of those situations, whatever it may be. We have to look and think about a diamond. Diamonds take time. It's the pressure through the result of the coal being there and having to deal with the pressure. And then once everything is done, it comes up and is a beautiful item, that being a diamond. And so that's where we have to look at our life and say, what pressure is showing up in our everyday life that we need to lean into and embrace? And what is it that pressure is trying to shape in our lives, that's trying to show up and help us progress into the next stage of life, whatever that may be? And so when we look at things that have taken place, when we have looked in those uncomfortable times, those times that aren't the funnest, that suck sometimes, those are beautiful times for us as individuals, because within that struggle that has taken place, there is a gift there for you to share. There's a gift there that is yours to give to others, to bless others with. And I think that's one of those beautiful, awesome things that we have within our lives, is accepting the struggles that have come up, that are taking place, and running with them and embracing them and shaping them. And then finding that core message, finding that heart story that is true to us, that allows us to connect with others because of the story that's shaping in our life, because of the struggles that we've gone through, that we're able to connect with other individuals. The situation we run into, though, is it's a core message to who we are. It's a core aspect of us as an individual, that it is a difficult and tough thing to show up and share that struggle with others. because we get into the situation of judging ourselves and not showing up because the judgment has gotten in the way to allow us to be present for others. Within the clubhouse room that I was in today listening, and this was still dealing with the idea of struggle, there was a gentleman that had talked about, I believe it was his mother. He had to move in with his family to take care of his mother. His mother, I think, had a stroke, and then she was developing dementia because of that stroke. And then I had shared before, he had started speaking in regards to that the struggle that's taken place in our life is a beautiful thing because it allows us to go back and focus on the positive things that have taken place. Allows us to look at that situation and embrace and love what has happened in our life. And then he had shared that because of that shift in perspective, he was able to create a community for others that are stepping into that caregiver role that may be a difficult situation for them to embrace because they're in the midst of the storm. And it's not a fun thing. For me, I haven't had to worry. I haven't had that experience of having to be a caretaker for somebody else. But knowing with the journey that I've been on, with dealing with the struggle of divorce and that negative internal voice and that story that has developed in my life, I can see where the showman's coming from. And that's the beautiful thing that really has occurred, has allowed me to be open and to listen to others and hear their story and just be present for somebody and give somebody space. But it's one of those very delicate situations of getting to that place where you can show up, be your true authentic self, and be vulnerable with others, because that judgment piece will rise up and will stop you from sharing your gift that you have that has occurred through the struggle. And I'm part of a divorce group on Facebook, and just hearing the struggle that some of the gentlemen that are going through right now, some of the actions that they wish would take place, and things that they focus on, it's a tough thing to see the pain and to hear the pain that these gentlemen are going through. But I look back and understand that that was part of my journey that I had to go through. And it has allowed me to get to where I'm at now, to be able to share the stories, share the tools, share the messages, whatever it may be, to help somebody else out when they're in pain, when they're hurting, and to be present for others, to be there for those individuals. But it gets to the place where it takes time, it takes work, and understand that struggle isn't a bad thing. That struggle really is that point that you need to embrace and accept and understand that because of that struggle showing up, because of what's taken place, growth is up next. That progression for you that you're searching for is up next. But you've got to go through the struggle to make sure that you are strong enough and equipped to go to that next level, whatever that is. And so it's one of those things that you just got to take the time and embrace these struggles that are taking place and just be grateful for the struggles, which when you hear that, you're probably like, why do I want to be grateful for the struggles? Well, if you think about it, with the struggles taking place, when them coming up and popping up, it's a beautiful thing because that's where that growth is coming into play. That growth piece for you is there coming up because of having to push and become strong. And so this is just one of those subjects that the idea of struggle, the idea that a lot of people have, the perception on struggle isn't a good thing. But a struggle is needed in life to help with the growth and the progression for us as individuals. But as I always say, if you are an individual that you're like, oh, I just don't know what to do, I don't know what I need to do to get to that next step, to get to that next part of life, reach out to me, send me a message, several different ways that you can reach out. Let's sit down and talk and see what that is for you as an individual, as my friend, to help you get to that next level, to help you progress and grow, to overcome and be triumphant along the journey. So, like I said, there's several different ways that you can do that. But other than that, I want to thank you for you being my friend. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey, for you coming on and being part of my journey, and just sharing and being there to support each other, because you just never know who you're going to impact by showing up and sharing your message. So other than that, I love you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great night.